Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So today I am going to do a second year of English Lit Uni book haul. I saw another YouTuber do this. Let me just see who it was. I saw the video and I thought it was a good idea. I saw a YouTuber called A Frolic Through Fiction do this, so I thought that was a good idea and that I would do it too. If you are new to my channel, my name is Katie. I am an English Lit and philosophy student at Cardiff Uni, so this is my book haul of my English books for second year because we don't actually have books for philosophy. If you do enjoy this video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button while you're here, and also hit the like button, and also leave a comment down below telling me what books you're studying this year. So first of all, my contemporary poetry module, I have two books which are like anthologies, and the first one is this one. It is the Bloodaxe book of 20th century poetry, edited by Edna Longley, and it is just like a poetry anthology. So you've got all of the poets are just kind of in the front saying which of their poems are in here, which is quite simple. And then the second book on that is another poetry anthology, which is the Vintage Book of Contemporary American Poetry, edited by J.D. McClatchy, and that's very similar. It's just got like the poets and their poems in here, and it's basically like Sylvia Plath, who else is well known on the front of this, Anne Sexton. Could have sworn maybe he's not. I thought that Ted Hughes, Sylvia Plath's husband, was in here as well, but I don't think he actually is. Anyway, that's the second book, and I really like the cover for this book. I'm not entirely sure what this is, but I just quite like the colour of the cover, like the dark blue. Very nice. So my second module I'm doing this term is romantic poetry, and I only have one book for that, but it's absolutely massive. I'm just leaning over here to get it. Very big and heavy. You could use it for weights, and that is this Romanticism. And this one is called Romanticism, an Anthology, 4th edition, edited by Dunham. And again, it's the same thing as those other ones. You've got, I can barely hold this up, I'm not very strong. You've got the poets in the front with which poems are in there, and then, you know, their poetry is throughout. I cannot even express how heavy this is. Obviously, I'm not carrying this to and from lectures. But with both of these, the lecturers have been giving us like photocopies of the texts, like the poets, each week, so we don't actually need to write in them. I have written in them when I've been doing my own notes ahead of the lectures, but yeah, haven't needed to write in them. And then my last English module I'm doing this year is called Girls, and it's basically about women in media. So like, not everything's going to be a book, so we get to watch Mean Girls, I believe, and Lena Dunham's pilot for Girls as well as on there. But this is like my novel and non-fiction one, so there's like quite a lot of books in this one compared to the other two. As you can see, these are all the books for this one. So this isn't till next term, but I have started reading already. So the ones I've read already are The Accidental by Ali Smith, which I love this cover. Again, if it focuses, the cover's by Judd Ripley, who's an Australian and is a tattoo artist, so that's why the cover's quite cool. This book was an interesting one because it really didn't go anywhere. I don't know, we read Girl Meets Boy last year and I really enjoyed it, but this is about 5 times the size, and I don't know, it was just about a family, and the plotline didn't, in my opinion, it didn't go anywhere, so I didn't enjoy it that much. But yeah, that's one of the ones. I've read that already. Then you've got this one called Grace, Tamar and Lazlo the Beautiful, which was a winner of Wales Book of the Year by Deborah K. Davies. I also somewhat believe that she might have studied at Cardiff, worked at Cardiff. Yeah, she started writing when she was a mature student at Cardiff University, where she earned a PhD in creative and critical writing and taught creative writing. So that's why this is on the module, I assume, because, I don't know, one of the faculty members who I believe is not any longer at university wrote it. Again, this one was a weird one. It was kind of about, if I remember correctly, because I read it quite a while ago now, like a couple of months ago, I believe it was about 2 sisters who kind of had a rivalry, and it was like, it's a collection of like short stories throughout their life rather than a whole novel. So it was an interesting structure, but again, I didn't overly enjoy this one. The next one is this, which is Bad Blood by Lorna Sage. This is an autobiography by Lorna Sage, and most of it reflected on her grandfather, who, like, it turned out was like an adulterous, possibly paedophile priest, and that was about 3/4 of the book. I really struggled to get through this because, again, I found it quite boring. The interesting bit was at the end, which is when she had a teenage pregnancy, but there wasn't that much on that, which I would have liked her to have written more on that, because I think most people would find that more interesting than her relationship with her grandparents. I don't know, I wanted more on the teenage pregnancy, I'm not gonna lie. But again, I think this one was picked because her grandmother was from Wales. Quite a lot of it was reminiscing on coming to Wales. The next one that I've read already is Fun Home, a family tragicomic by Alison Bechdel. Now this is interesting because it is a comic book. May I remind you, I'm doing English literature, so when I found out I was reading a comic book for my English literature degree, I wasn't entirely happy, I'm not going to lie. I don't know, this was relatively interesting. It was an autobiography again. It kind of centred around her dad. Her dad, they think, committed suicide, but they don't really know whether he did or not. He got hit by a lorry or something. I mean, it was an interesting layout, but personally, I'm 20, I'm an English literature student, I've never been interested in comics, and I'm never going to be interested in comics. I'd rather read a novel than a comic. So, interesting subject matter. I think that if she wrote it as an actual autobiography and not as a comic, that she could go far more in depth as to, I don't know, her family life, and it might have been a bit more interesting. Not that it wasn't interesting, but I didn't like the format. On a similar note, I haven't read this one yet, purely because it's this thick, and again, turn it right way up, it's a comic. Again, don't know why I've got another comic in my English lit degree, but this is Persepolis by Marjane Satrapi. I don't know how to say her surname, but it's the story of a childhood and the story of a return. I believe she was a refugee. It doesn't say, but I believe she was a refugee. I haven't read it yet. I think the subject matter will be interesting if I'm right in believing she was a refugee. Again, not excited to read a book in this format. So the next one that I haven't yet read is this, which is Sarah Waters' Tipping the Velvet. Quite a hefty novel. I bought this one secondhand, which is why it's yellow, just because uni books do get really expensive. If you are an English lit student and you buy books all brand new, I actually really would suggest going on Amazon, typing in the book, and then going on the new and used bit rather than just buying it straight from Amazon, because either you'll find a new one that's a lot cheaper than what Amazon's selling it for, or you can find a used one that's in perfect condition. So apart from this being a bit yellow, it is in perfect condition. I haven't read it yet. It's quite big, but I am not studying it until next term, and we've only really just started this semester, so I might read this over Christmas because it is very big. Now on to two books, the last two, which I have read before, and I will read them again before it starts, but I love both of these books, so I'm very happy. First one is Bridget Jones' Diary by Helen Fielding. If you know me, you will know that my favourite films of all time are Bridget Jones. Can't tell you how many times I've watched them. It's probably in the hundreds. I watch it anytime I'm feeling sad, anytime I'm ill, anytime I just want to watch a film. It's Bridget Jones, or Bridget Jones: The Edge of Reason. When I bought this one, because my mum had a copy, but obviously because I'm using it for uni and I'll make notes now, I wanted to get my own one. I bought this secondhand. I also got the next three as well, so The Edge of Reason, Mad About the Boy, and Bridget Jones' Baby, so I need to read those. This is this one. Again, I'm excited to reread this. I read it on my gap year actually for the first time, and I'm excited to read it again. And if you haven't watched Bridget Jones or you haven't read Bridget Jones, then please do, because it's the greatest rom-com of all time, and I will not accept any arguments on that, it just is. And then the last book is Not That Kind of Girl by Lena Dunham, which is her autobiography. I, again, read this in my gap year. I actually found it really interesting. It's just her talking about like her uni experience, you know, other things that you experience as a female. It's just it's quite funny in places. It's very honest. Some of it's a bit graphic, so if you don't like that kind of stuff, just don't read it. But it's in sections, so like the first section is love and sex, so you know, that kind of thing. Next bit's body, so about body image, friendship, work, and big picture. So I would recommend reading this as well. I actually hadn't really watched any of Lena Dunham's stuff before reading this, but I really enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below, as I said earlier, what books you're reading this term, and also if you've read any of the books that I've just shown, let me know how you got on with them. Please don't forget to subscribe, as it would mean the world to me, and I'm hoping that if possible I can get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. It's me like 2 months, and I need, whilst I'm filming this, I believe I'm on 760, so I've got like 140 to go. So it is possible if you hit that subscribe button. And also don't forget to like this video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one.